We are talking about how to activate generational blessings. Before we consider that, I have made an explanation for you to understand. So when you say activate, what does it mean to activate? To unlock. Are you with me now? To enable, to set something off or trigger it. So the question is, how can we trigger or unlock or set something in motion so that this thing will now begin to work? Because like I said, it is wrong for you to pray, oh Lord bless me, because he blessed you already. There's blessing within you resident. So how can I activate Barak, the 5 shades of blessing that God deposited in you? Number one way, there are 3 of them, but let me deal with one now, and maybe that's the one we'll take for tonight. Number one way you can activate it is by sacrifice. I said by what? Come on, chorus out with me. Say by what? Take note of these that I'm going to say right now, because this is so important tonight. If the generational blessings that we are talking about is a seed that breeds wealth, finances, prosperity, riches, then you must take very seriously the doctrine of seed time and harvest. It was at this point Jesus cried out and said, for the children of this world in their cosmos, in their system, are wiser than the children of God. It was a kind of a revamp of Hosea 4 verse 6, where God said, for my people perish. For what? You will notice he didn't say they perished because they were prayerless. They did not perish because they were not fasting. They did not perish at this point because they were not righteous or holy. They perished because there was no knowledge. And he says, since you have rejected knowledge, I have rejected you, because I have nothing to add anymore that is not tied to knowledge. Are you with me, please? You must take the doctrine of seed time and harvest very, very serious. Ask yourself, why are the enemies of your progress attacking seed time and harvest in your life? Go on social media. What did they attack you to do? Not to sow. If you check that scripture, which the Bible speaking says, when Noah was ready to launch into a new era after the flood, when Noah was ready to launch into a new dispensation after the flood, Genesis 8 verse 21, the Bible said Noah will not start a new journey without a sacrifice. Then he raised an altar, he offered them. The Bible speaking says, when God smelled the sacrifice, God looked around and didn't see who to swear by. He looked up and looked down. He couldn't see a match to himself. Then God swore by himself. He said, never will I destroy the earth again with a flood. And for me to make you understand the seriousness of what I just said, he splitted the rainbow. He said, let this serve as a covenant between what I have said and you, that whenever I see it, I remember what I told myself. The doctrine of seed time and harvest is not church doctrine. It is the earth doctrine. It is not about the Old Testament. It's not about the New Testament. It's about the earth. That is what Genesis 8 verse 22 says. He said, as long as the earth remains, seed time is a principle, and you know God cannot walk outside this principle. Seed time and harvest will not cease. I'd like you to pay attention to this wherever you are. Listen to this. When it comes to giving, this is so important. The Bible says in 2 Corinthians 9 verse 7, when it comes to giving, he said, let every man give according to how he or she has proposed in his or her heart. That is giving. Are you with me now? That is what? Giving. But when it comes to sacrifice, 2 things are involved. When it comes to giving, you can do it anyhow you like. Within your prerogative, is within your volition, it is within your terms, your will. But when it comes to sacrifice, there are two things involved. It is either God himself is giving you a direct instruction, or he will speak to you through his servant. Let me give you an example. God called Abraham, when you read Genesis 12 verse 1 to 3, God called Abraham at 75. You still remember that, right? And he made him a promise of generational blessing. But hear this, the promise was not activated until Abraham was 118. Come with me now. I want us to go a bit deep. At 75, mama, he called him and then told him everything he's going to do. But he never did it until Abraham clocked 118. Now, do the subtraction by yourself. If you pull out 75 from 118, I'm sure it will give you 43 if I'm right. So for 43 solid years of diligent followership, God never activated it. For God to activate the covenant generational blessings, he placed the demand on Abraham. When you read Genesis 22 from verse 1, he said, after these things, the word these there are in plural. After these things, the question is what things? It takes you back to chapter 21, where there was a conversation between Sarah and Abraham when he looked at Hagar and the son Ishmael. He said, this boy has become a mockery. God has answered us and has given us the child of promise he promised us. So I wanted to send them away. He didn't go down well with Abraham because child is still a child. But while he was sleeping, the angel appeared to him at night and said, consent to what Sarah have said is my agenda. I am in the picture. I want you to send Hagar away. From that moment, Abraham woke up early morning and then called Hagar and then the son Ishmael and sent them away with the water bottle. Verse 1 of chapter 22 said, after those things that transpired, God came to Abraham and said, give me Isaac. Listen, God will never ask you of Isaac when Ishmael is still around. That is why it's called sacrifice. 118. By this time, Isaac 18. God requested for Isaac, and Abraham gave Isaac to God as the seed that activated the covenant generational blessings. Are you coming with me now? Barak. If you read it clearly, you will see that there was a repetition of Genesis 1:28. He said to him, because you have done this, as for blessing, and God blessed them and said, be fruitful. He said, and as for multiplication. So he activated what was in Abraham since he was 75 that he spoke about, while Abraham gave him his one and only seed. That title was reserved for Christ. He said, give me your one and only begotten son, the one whom you love. That was why, as he was going to read his will, he gave them everything but gave Isaac all. Why will he do that? Because Isaac was the seed of the blessing that he sowed that activated the blessing. Come on now, are you with me? It was that same seed God came for that activated the generational blessings. That was what also Isaac did in his days. So when it was time for Isaac to join his ancestors, like I told us, he knew that he was running out of time. He said to Esau in Genesis 27, come with me now, when you read from verse 1 down to verse 30, he said to him, I am running out of time. Age is no longer on my side. I'm going to join my ancestors any moment. So I like you to go get me my favorite, the venison you know I love so much. Go get it for me, and when you bring it, prepare the savory. When I eat, my soul will bless you. It made me to understand that there are blessings that comes out from the mouth of my pastor, and there are blessings that comes out from his soul. Let me bless you from the soul. When Rebecca heard that, he did not take that for granted. I told you I'm going to reiterate some things. Rebecca came to Jacob. He said, I know you are a very rational man. You know, you are one person that is very logical, but don't play logic at this time, because we are in a state of emergency. Something is about to happen. There is a twist in a prophecy. Something is about to alter or to change the course of God's arrangement. You must obey everything that I'm about to tell you. Do not hesitate. Do not say no. I know you are very, very rational in your thinking, but obey all that me, your mother, is telling you, because I am the one that is holding the prophecy. And Jacob said, what is it, ma'am? He said, you will do as I say. Your father is my husband. No matter how Esau prepares it, I know what he loves most. He's my beloved. For all the years you've grown, I've married him, so I know how he wants it. I am going to prepare it the way that it will be finger licking good. And then she made the savory, brought it and gave to Jacob. He said, take it to your father. With the skin of the cow they killed, he covered Jacob, because Esau was very hairy. And as Jacob was entering, he was scared. He said, you know, even though my father is blind, but he's very sensitive, very intelligent. The eyes of his spirit is sharper than his physical. He might know that I am not Esau, and then he will spew a curse on me. He said, give me one more minute. The Bible, Rebecca entered into the room, opened the box of Esau, and brought out the best raiment, the best clothes of Esau, and put it on Jacob. You know, Esau was a hunter, so the cloth smells like animal. And then he said, take it and wear. When Jacob got close, the Bible said the father saw him and said, so soon? Are you already back? He said, yes, your God led me. He said, oh, that is a good one. So can you bring the savory if you've prepared it? And he perceived it and said, wow, this is just like I love it. And then he told him, he said, drop the tray. He dropped the tray and he said, come close. He came close. He touched him. When he filled him, he said, this body is Esau's, but the voice sounds like up. At this point, I paused when I was studying. Papa, if you were this confused and weren't sure, why did you spew the blessing? Because already you are in a fix. You came to a crossroad where you were not so sure whether this was the Esau. Number one, you looked at it that it was so soon that he went hunting and came back. However, he said, my God directed him, my God guided him. Well, that's fine. But as I look, I have filled him. He looks like Esau by feeling, but the voice is Jacob's. I should have paused and said, call Esau first and let the two of you come. But I don't know if someone is still with me tonight, because when there is a sacrifice, it breaks protocol. When sacrifice is here, even when you are not qualified, the blessing comes on you. You know why? God is the one. Because sacrifice has a way of twisting things that were correct. I don't know who I came to talk to tonight. In this very year of end of discussion, somebody is ready to do something that God will take you to a place that when they see you, it will provoke a debate. They will say, this looks like how. Some will say, no, if this is she, we know her.